Hello Final 10. As you know, last night Charizard was eliminated. And for today's challenge... Hold it! No! Just no. Is, something wrong, Voltorb? These challenges have been absolutely awful. First it was cliff diving, then it was dodgeball, then it was an awake-a-thon, then it was cliff diving again. I am tired of these motherfucking challenges and these motherfucking TPIs. So you better give us a good, creative challenge, or I swear to God! I understand that the last few challenges haven't been the best, and I appreciate the criticism, but I honestly feel like you're really going to enjoy this challenge. Okay, what is it? What you have to do is you need to pick a partner, and you need to canoe over to an island. And, what's this island called? Oh, you know. Boney Island? Hello everybody, Aiden Care, aka the Crazy Chandelure here, and welcome back to another episode of TPI Talk, the show where I talk about TPIs. This is a welcome back from long ago. I think the last time I did an episode was like 6 months ago, maybe even something like 8 or 9. So, I know it's been a long time, but I was kind of feeling burnt out. I wasn't really having that much motivation to work on really any videos at that point. So I've decided to come back with a bit of a flair, and I'm just happy to be back. Thought I'd start off with a solo episode, just something nice, quick, and easy to get back in the swing of things as I upload the next series of TPI Talks. I am planning on taking a break after I get to episode 12, which is my goal point for the end of the season. I want to have 12, and then I'll take a break, and then I'll come back when I've got some more topics to talk about, and I'll have some brand new and returning guests to talk about even more topics and create even more exciting TPI talks for you guys to listen to. So, this gets us right into today's topic, which is cliche challenges. So, a cliche challenge, just to give you a definition of what that is a challenge that has been done several times before. So, for an example of a cliche challenge, there'd be the cliff diving challenge, which was done in Total Drama, and was done in a lot of other TPIs as well. A more cliche challenge in a TPI on its own would be the egg challenge, where, you know, the contestants get given an egg, they need to do something with the egg, or they need to try and keep the egg safe, and then after that, the egg hatches, and then bam, it's on your team, and it's a baby Pokemon, which I could do an entire other episode on, but we're gonna save that for now. So that's basically what a cliche challenge is. And now here comes the question, how do I avoid that? So a way to avoid cliche challenges is pretty simple. You just kind of need to get creative. And that's basically the simplest advice I can give for trying to avoid one of those challenges. I know it sounds easier the way I'm saying it than it actually is. I know coming up with challenge ideas can be a bit tough, and I've experienced that myself when planning my own show. However, coming up with interesting challenges is a vital part of having a good episode, because most of the time the challenge does take up a lot of the episode. And I'm not saying that every challenge needs to be super bombastic, super action-filled, or anything like that. Your challenges can serve multiple purposes. For example, it can serve to have characters interact. You know, you've got two people that are on opposite teams that you want to interact, have them interact during a challenge and set it up so those two Pokemon are facing off against each other in some sort of way in that challenge, and then you can have that character interaction that you want. Challenges can be a good vehicle for different stuff that you want to incorporate in your show. However, challenges still need to be interesting because it's the main part of the episode, like I said, and is a vital part to the in-universe competition. You know, you compete in these challenges to get further in the game, to progress, to make yourself safe from immunity. So these challenges need to be important, or at the very least they need to be somewhat interesting for your audience to watch. Because if the majority of your episode is literally just watching a challenge that everyone's seen like a dozen times, no one's really gonna care, or people might gain a bad impression of your TPI as a result. You know, they might think you're uncreative or something like that. And you can take many inspirations for challenges. You can take inspirations from movies without it needing to be an action season. You can take inspiration from video games, from TV shows, from anime, from pretty much anything. You can do anything with a challenge you want to do. Which means that as long as you've got a creative bone in your body, which let's be honest, you probably should have if you're making a show, you should be able to come up with a good challenge idea. I'd also recommend, if you want to do a similar challenge to one that's been done a lot, for example, doing a cooking challenge, find some way to make it a bit more interesting, which you can do by having interesting character dynamics, which can distract from the fact that you're doing a similar challenge that's been done a lot if you've got really good character interactions, or really funny moments, or something like that. If you think that you can make it interesting, I say go for it, but try and change it up a little bit. A good example of this would be from Teddy Garman's show, Total Pokemon Survivor Island, where what he did for a dodgeball challenge, which is a pretty cliche challenge on its own, he changed it up by having statues, or cardboard cutouts essentially, of the old contestants that fire dodgeballs automatically, which adds a whole new element to the dodgeball game, and that sort of stuff can make the challenge, even if it's a bit more basic and is a bit of a cliche, it can make it more interesting and fun to watch for the audience. And this is a piece of advice I'd recommend people take into account, because I understand that, coming up with sometimes 16 or 20 completely new and original challenges, it can be hard. It'd be pretty easy to come up with 5 or 6 totally original challenges do not steal, but coming up with that many can be hard. So I feel like if you are going to incorporate, challenge ideas that have been done before, make some kind of twist on it, or do something to make it a bit more interesting for the audience to watch. And I understand that this is all a hobby, and that's completely fine, but if you're going to make a show or make a TPI, you need to put the effort in to make your challenges at least somewhat memorable. And if you're not going to have a challenge be super complicated or basic, that's fine, Just because you're coming up with a challenge doesn't mean it needs to be, super intricate. You don't need to have, a Death Note level thing where it's, a million twists in a challenge. Oh, you thought you were scuba diving to find emeralds. Well, guess what? The emeralds are actually Pokemon that swallow you into another dimension where you have to do a three-legged race in order to jump into a volcano to grab a spoon and bring it back in order to, eat a bowl of soup. You don't need to make it super complicated or have a lot of steps. You can do something that's creative, but a bit more simple. And that's totally fine. A good example of this would be in Island Strikes Back episode 19. The idea of having an escape room challenge isn't something overly complicated, but what Matt did was he had it be fun challenges that showed off his contestants' different abilities. He had it have good character interactions between his characters, and he had fun callbacks to previous characters in the season and previous events. And he also included stuff that didn't necessarily have to do with the challenge, but also greater plots as well to add to the challenge, such as the thing with Gabite being attacked, and adding to the plotline of Blitzel not really liking Gabite, which I know is spoilers, but most people watching this have seen ISB, and I don't think this spoils much anyways. And lastly, I'd just like to share some tips that have helped me come up with my own challenge ideas. That is looking at other forms of media besides TPIs. I already mentioned that TPAs, they can take inspirations from movies to come up with challenges, and I mentioned that you can take inspiration from video games and movies and TV shows, and that's what I do for some of my challenges. I look at different video games and movies that I like, and I take an aspect of them and I turn it into a challenge. For example, once again, from Teddy Garman's Total Pokemon Survivor Island, he turned Smash Brothers into a challenge, and that worked really well and was honestly one of his best challenges yet. I have a future challenge plan that's based on a video game that I'm a really big fan of, and I feel like that can actually help you feel more motivated to work on your challenges, because you're doing a challenge based on something you enjoy, and that makes it funner to work on, and you have a better time. I would recommend to do these in moderation. You don't want every challenge to be about a movie or to be a reference to a video game or something like that, unless that's the theme of your season. But I feel like doing it sparingly is absolutely fine, and you can get away with doing a few of these challenges. Another way that you can get inspired to do challenges, you can look at real life. For example, Heavenly Heracross turned an actual job, that being coming up with sitcom ideas and making a sitcom, into a challenge for his contestants to do in Total Pokemon Game Changers. Vivi, who created Total Pokemon Outcasts, he took inspiration from one of his favorite movies, Good Burger, and made a bunch of references in that episode to Good Burger, had a challenge similar to Good Burger, and, that was one of his better episodes. So it just shows that you can take inspiration from all over the place, not just fiction, real life as well. You could maybe have a challenge where the contestants have to act as, like, police or sheriffs or something like that, and whoever solves the most crimes wins. Or you could have the contestants act as, like, firefighters or something like that. You can take any idea, whether it be from a video game or from something mundane like a real-life job, and you can turn it into a good challenge idea if you just think about it. So you can look anywhere for inspirations. You can even look at your parents as an example. Let's say one of your parents is a school teacher. Well, maybe your contestants, as a challenge, they need to run a school for a bit. Or maybe they need to, like, teach a class of kids and, get ranked on who does the best job by, like, an actual school teacher. You could do stuff like that, and that can make for fun challenges as long as you can develop that idea and improve on it by, not just having it be the challenge one and done. You can flesh out with humor, you can flesh out with action if you want to, but you should also flesh out with character interactions. You can take any idea, whether it be from fiction, whether it be from real life, and it can become a challenge if you just find a way to look at it from a different perspective. And as long as you include character interactions that are memorable, you can have some good humor, that can turn any idea into a good challenge or even a great one. So that's just a few tips on how to come up with challenge ideas and how to avoid cliche challenges. So thank you all for listening to this episode of TPI Talk. It feels good to be back after so long, and please leave suggestions for future topics in the comment section down below. So once again, guys, thank you for listening.